It was around 2013 to 2014. My brother was about 7 or 8 at the time, and we had just moved into a new house to be closer to school and for cheaper rents. It was a pretty nice house, all things considered. It even had a cozy fireplace for the winter. Anyway, my brother was really into Batman and had this Batman car that if a button was pressed made noises and lit up. It was basically his favorite toy, so he played with it often. Then one afternoon, he came inside from playing out back and told us he found something. So obviously my mom and I asked what it was. It was a picture of a young boy in the form of one of those tags you get if your parents paid extra for school photos. The picture was dirty and full of wear and tear, even to the point you couldn't see the year it was taken. We thought that, okay, some parent lost their kid's picture, no big deal. And then my brother said something that confused me. "That's Buddy," he said. And I looked at him with a facial expression that basically asked him to repeat himself. And he did. He pointed at the picture and said, "This is Buddy, he's my friend." I slowly nodded my head as if I knew who he was talking about. The main reason this confused me is because my brother didn't make friends easily, and he had no friends that I knew of. And this Buddy only came up once we had moved. I shrugged it off and figured he'd made friends with the next door neighbors or something, and he somehow got the school picture as like a keepsake. That night around 3 a.m., when everyone in the house was asleep, I woke up to my brother talking, so naturally annoyed, I walked into his room to tell him to go to bed or else he'd wake up our parents. It was weird because when I walked into his room, he was sitting up straight in his bed as if he was actually talking to someone and not just to himself or his toys. I told him to go to bed and I went to bed myself. A couple days later, my mom was talking to me about my brother and asked if I'd seen him get up at night, and I said no, I woke up to him talking a few nights ago, but that was it. Why? And she said he had been acting weird, but as usual, we both shrugged it off as him being a kid. Now in my room, my bed was right across from my door, meaning if I turned over, I could see into the hallway right in front of me. One night, I woke up to use the bathroom, and since I myself was and still am very afraid of the dark, I left the hallway light on, knowing my dad would turn it off once he got up and I'd probably be asleep by then. I was laying in my bed facing my door when a sudden noise made me jump. It was my brother's damn Batman car. It was making noises. So I got up to tell my brother that he shouldn't be up this late playing, but when I got into his room, he was asleep in his bed with the toy across the room on the floor still making noise. I walked over to it to turn it off. I was finally able to go back to sleep, but the following days, my brother would not shut up about Buddy. It was honestly starting to freak me out, so I went over to the neighbors' houses to the right and left of us. One house didn't even have kids, and the other was vacant. This started to worry me, but my dad said it was probably just an imaginary friend he came up with. I went along with it since I couldn't think of any other solution, but almost every night, one of us, my mom, dad, or sister, would say we heard my brother's toy making noise and had to go into the room and turn it off. I explained that I had to do it as well, and once again brought up my brother talking to someone one night. My dad swore up and down that the toy was probably motion activated, but when we bought it, there was no advertisement for motion activation. My sister and I were so unnerved by it that we started to sleep in my room together, which I'm glad we did, or else I'd probably write this off as a bad dream. My sister and I were talking, trying to keep each other calm and in good spirits, until we heard the dreaded noise of my brother's toy. We both looked toward my open door and into my brother's room, which was right across mine into his room. Our expressions turned into those of horror as we saw our brother's toy rolling past the door all on its own. We screamed and ran to our parents' room, and they got mad at our brother, saying it was a cruel joke to play on us. As we were already freaked out, what he said sent chills down my spine. It wasn't me, Buddy wanted to play. That night, the toy went into the trash, batteries taken out and all. My sister and I were relieved until the next day, my brother had the toy again. My parents accused him of getting it out of the trash, to which he responded, "Buddy got it for me." The toy was broken into small pieces and thrown away for the final time. My brother was obviously upset, but our parents got him a new Batman figurine and everything was fine. It wasn't until about a week later, when we all felt that everything was okay now, and that Buddy was gone. My mom was cooking chicken breasts on the countertop George Foreman grill, and she had come into the living room to ask us something. And then we all jumped as we heard it crash in the kitchen. We went in there to see the George Foreman grill halfway across the kitchen, as if it had been thrown. My mom swore it was nowhere near the edge, and my dad had no explanations. Nothing happened afterwards, and we moved out about a year later. But to this day, I wonder if my brother's imaginary friend Buddy wasn't imaginary.